It was a cold winter night. The streets were deserted and silent, except for the desperate meows echoing through the alleys. 3 ragged, starving kittens wandered aimlessly, their thin bodies barely able to keep them standing. Their eyes reflected the sadness of those who had suffered too much, no longer believing that anything good could happen. But these weren't just stray kittens. Each of them carried a painful story. Abandoned as mere babies, they had learned to survive on their own, but with each passing day, hope faded a little more. Could it be possible, amid so much pain, to find a miracle? With every step, hunger tightened its grip, the cold cut through them, and the fear of not seeing another sunrise consumed them. To these kittens, the world was cruel and indifferent. They had already learned not to trust humans because every time they tried to get close, they were chased away, mistreated, ignored. What was left for them? Would they ever have a place to call home? Days turned into weeks, and the 3 barely had the strength to go on. Everything seemed lost, until a kind, unknown hand reached out to them. It was late at night when the first ray of hope appeared. An elderly woman walking slowly down the street stopped when she heard the faint, sad meows. Her heart tightened, and something inside her told her these kittens needed help. She knew what it was like to be alone. She knew what it felt like to think the world had forgotten you. Gently, she knelt on the cold ground, extending her hand. The kittens hesitated, recoiled, frightened. But there was something in the softness of the woman's touch, something that made them move closer. She didn't chase them away. She didn't turn her back. Instead, she welcomed them with tenderness and care. And for the first time, they felt the warmth of kindness. It took time for them to fully trust, but slowly the 3 kittens began to feel safe by her side. She fed them, treated their wounds, and offered what they needed most, a home. However, life on the streets had left deep scars. Even inside, with the safety they now had, a persistent fear still followed them. The smallest of the 3, who could barely open his eyes when he was rescued, was the most withdrawn. He had suffered so much that he couldn't allow himself to believe that this was real. So he isolated himself, staying in a corner, distant, as if waiting for the moment when everything would fall apart again. Then something incredible happened. One night, the elderly woman lay down on the couch, exhausted after a long day. The little kitten watched her from afar, his eyes sad and hesitant. Something in his heart told him this was his chance. Slowly, with short and uncertain steps, he approached. Each step felt like an internal battle, but when he finally got close, he climbed into her lap and for the first time in his life allowed himself to trust. He fell asleep there, feeling the warmth and love he had longed for. And in that moment, all the fears, all the emotional scars began to dissolve. Love conquered fear. The story of these kittens is a powerful reminder of how kindness can change lives. They were on the brink of despair, but the simple act of compassion from a stranger was enough to completely transform their existence. Each of them, with their scars, found not just a home, but a new chance at life. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson we can take from this story. Never underestimate the power of a kind gesture. Sometimes, all someone or some kitten needs is a helping hand, willing to offer love and hope. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming stories like this one. Your support can make all the difference in spreading messages of love and compassion.